Give me the most extreme thing that you've used ChatGPT for.
From the fallout of my business, I was left with a financial liability somewhere near the tune of £500,000. I don't understand how this has happened. What am I going to do? So I started pushing it into GPT and go, look, this is the situation. I sit here today having not paid a single penny of that debt so far. There's always going to be people that will go, oh, it produces rubbish. You don't know what you're doing. Do your research, but start with GPT. If you get your head around GPT, your business will change. Your output will change.
Welcome to In The Mixx, People and Talent, the podcast where we dive into stories, challenges and successes shaping the world of HR and talent. Each episode, we sit down with the people behind the company, HR leaders, talent experts and business innovators to uncover what really drives great teams and thriving workplaces.
I thought we'd start off by typing your name into ChatGPT to see what it throws out.
Uh-huh.
Are you ready for this? Have you ever done this before?
No.
Okay. Nitin Sharma, recruitment tech leader and podcast host, founder and CEO of RecTalk, host of RecTalk, started your career at Michael Page in 2014, twice nominated for one on-rec personality of the year for the impact in the recruitment industry, advocate for authenticity, community and AI adoption in recruitment, and recently co-launched RecCircle.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Pretty good, isn't it? Pretty good. So I thought that would lead us nicely on to a little bit about how your journey started in recruitment and tell us a little bit about the early days in Michael Page.
Yeah, so once I graduated, I was actually in retail banking, weirdly enough, and managed to get up to I was going down the financial advisor route, realised there's a lot of studying to do, and I'd left those years behind me, so went down the management route instead. So got up to being a branch manager, so retail banking manager for Coventry Building Society, Nationwide Building Society, and then eventually at Skipton, got made redundant and walked into Michael Page's office in Coventry at the time to register as a candidate because I looked at them and thought, they do accountancy and finance, and I work in finance. They might be able to get me a job. Went in, started chatting to them, and walked out basically with a job offer. So they're like, you need to do this.
What age was that?
Oh, mate, I was a late bloomer. This was 2014. So it was actually, I was getting married in the August of 2014. So I would have been about 27, 28, something like that.
Similar age to you, Chris, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty similar age.
Yeah, so kind of already had a career and then, sort of pivoted into this.
Tell us a little bit about your time there. How long was you there for? What was
I was only at Page
journey?
for sort of 3.5 years. I liked it. It was a great place to learn. Very quickly realised two things. Number one, that I could do this for myself and make a lot more money. I'm putting half £500,000 on a year and not seeing much of that at all. But also very quickly realised that this corporate world just ain't for me. I had to cut my hair short, believe it or not, and not have a beard, wear a suit every day, and it wasn't for me. So the minute I felt I was ready to, I thought, I'm going to go and do something for myself now, which was always the plan in my head was always kind of like, eventually I want to do something for myself. Don't know what it is, but I don't want to work for anyone.
Enter Michael Sharma. Tell us a bit about that.
So that was my goal. Was I was going to set up anyway, but I had a pal of mine who I'd known from retail banking days, and I got him into recruitment, and we were really tight. And I said, look, this is what I'm going off to do. Do you want to come with? Like, do you want to be involved in this or not?
And was he at Michael Page at the time?
Yeah, he was also at Page. The reality is that his face fit more in that corporate world than mine did, and if he'd have stayed, he'd probably still be there and all that sort of stuff. But we both kind of went, no, we can do this. So we set up the two of us in 2017, and it was just the two of us for sort of those 3 years until the pandemic hit, and then we kind of went, all right, well, listen. If it's party's over, time to go home, and they're making a lot of money available, why don't we take some of that money, and rather than just live on it, and just pay the bills and keep things ticking over, why don't we just go for broke? Just get an office, just hire some staff, train them up while things are quiet.
This is during COVID.
Yeah. So we was like, right, okay, yeah, let's do it. So August 2020, we moved into an office space, spent a month and a half refurbing it. I'm like, I did the tiling in the bathroom myself. My father-in-law did all the plumbing for it. I put the kitchen in from Howden's and sort of helped get all the tiling in and the flooring, and when we moved in, it was a shithole.
It sounds like us yesterday setting the studio up.
Wow. And this afternoon,
Yeah,
getting the tiles on the backdrop.
Yeah, I love it. I love getting involved in this sort of stuff, and so I was like, no, let's do it. And then the first kind of team or enrollment of teams started with us in about October 2020. We had a few good years, did well-ish for what we could have done, but we made some like really big mistakes along the way. And so I always like to say, look, I started, grew, scaled, and ultimately failed a recruitment business and learned a lot of things along the way, right?
And can you pinpoint anything in particular, or is there any kind of moment?
Look, fundamentally, there's a reason that me and my old business partner don't talk anymore. A lot went on that I didn't realize was going on, that kind of stuff. But realistically, grew too fast. Spent too much time in the business, not on the business. Didn't take kind of the growth that we were experiencing seriously enough to be forecasting ahead. Refused to kind of monitor trends and make predictions about what's actually happening, and then like when it all said and done, we got to a point where we were basically because this again, a phrase I throw out a lot, but we used to have really like much like you guys, really embedded relationships with clients, and they would deal with us and only us. And then we ended up kind of going through this like, no, we just need fees because the bills are mounting up and we need to pay them. And so we started picking up, going for low hanging fruit. And by the end, we were picking up rotten fruit and veg off the floor and calling it a fee, knowing that this client ain't going to pay, but that's the invoice financing company's problem. This is going to cause us a headache, but we need the jobs, we need the vacancies. Oh, we don't normally work these roles, but we'll work it because we need the money. It was just sort of the process wasn't there.
I think when you get to that point, you kind of fall out of love with it as well, right?
Oh, mate, my head was gone. Truthfully, so it was all exciting until we moved into the office, and then I started realizing that me and my business partner were just two very different people. So we'd kind of arranged the desks in such a way where there was banks, and I was like, look, we need to be sat out on the banks with these guys, right? They need to be seeing us, hearing us. They're going to learn from us. Yeah. I agree. Cool. Okay. So I go off, do the school in that morning, come in, and the bank's desks are still there, but he's managed to find himself a desk to sit right at the front, as if he's like some sort of like Mrs. Trunchbull or something. And I was just like,
what, like looking over the class?
I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, well, I've got like the banking stuff that I need to do, and like, I can't have people looking over my shoulder. I was like, so go downstairs and do it.
Yeah.
We've got 2 floors. No. And I was like, oh, okay. And then little things kept happening like that where, you're not a really good people person. So why don't you let me do the people management and you work on other projects and stuff like that? Basically I was out doing all the business development, winning clients, bringing them back into the office while he was there ruling with an iron fist. And I'd have like staff coming up to me, literally like puppy dog looks, like, help us. Like
Come back to the office.
Yeah, just like, he's making me make phone calls. Like when my client base doesn't want. So we had a guy who I brought in and sort of trained up and stuff, and he was great at. This is my first exposure to Gen Z talent, right? These guys can build relationships. We're never picking up the phone. He got in with an engineering company called Jacobs, they're a nuclear engineering firm, and he was dealing with the director of new projects. This guy's fucking senior, and everything was on email and LinkedIn messages. That was it. And so an email would come through, would say, that candidate looks great. Tom, can you get him booked in for this day, here's my diary, blah, blah, blah. And my business partner would be like, get on the phone to him, ring him. He's just sent you an email. That means he's got his phone in his hand. Ring him. And Tom would be looking at me like, help me. Like he's ruining this relationship. Yeah. Because the client would email back and go, So I fell out of love with it a long time before it failed. And that probably was a big part of why it did fail as well. Because when I put myself into something, like such wood, it seems to go well.
Yeah.
And my was just my dad passed away in November 2020. Took a bit of time out of the business. By the time I came back, it didn't feel like my company anymore. I just sort of felt like it's his business and I'm just helping him run it. His wife ended up working for us, his brother ended up working for us, his cousin ended up working for us. And in the end, I was sort of like, you need this to work, I really don't. Like,
so did you exit?
No. I tried to a couple of times, but he couldn't get the funding to. And I didn't want buying out. I was sort of like, look, we've got debts against us. If you can refinance the business so that my liability is clear and it's all in your name, then happy days, go for it.
Yeah.
Little did I know that actually his personal financial situation wasn't great, so no lender in the land was touching him. So I had to kind of stay, and I had to stay, and I had to stay until eventually it came to a point where it was sort of like, we can't hit payroll. What do you mean we can't hit payroll? There's no money in the business.
Ouch.
So then I remember I paid the staff their final paycheck from my own savings.
Wow.
And again, was like, look, party's over, time to go home. And even then he was desperately scrambling around for somebody to loan him some money to keep the doors open that little bit longer. Because as I said, he needed it to work, not me. Yeah.
And
He
then
had
you come-
everything invested. I didn't.
And then you come to a crossroads, right?
Yeah.
What do you do at that point? You're kind of, I guess, you feel like everything's against you. You've lost the love for what you've done for a long period of time in your life. You've obviously got wife, children, house. Like you said, you're paying the staff out of your own personal savings. Did you have a clear vision at that point, or did you
No.
just take one step at a time? Because obviously we first met you, Gemma and I, when we went on
It was,
RecTalk.
yeah,
It was a
very early into
it might have been
when all of this was quite fresh.
might have been a
Yeah.
bit sooner than that before you become a podcast extraordinaire.
Yeah.
When you was at that crossroads, what was you thinking at that point? Where was
So,
you at in your life?
I-
And then talk us through a little bit about your current
Yeah,
your current
it-
situation.
It actually
So-
kind of leads right into it, right? So basically, I come back after taking some time out, and my old man's not around anymore, and I'm like, listen, I'm gonna have to take a bit of time. He's got a lot of stuff going out in India. Mum's not great. I'm gonna have to kind of dip in and out, and took a pay cut in accordance to do that. But I was like, look, why don't you run the recruitment business? I've got this idea that I want to play out. Let me figure it out, and we'll see what happens. So that's when I started building RecTools. Because in my head, I was like, everyone's always trying to sell us something. And you guys know this firsthand, right? You go anywhere, they all want to sell you something. But people don't buy like that anymore. You know, people's
Changes.
buyer behavior has changed. It's
Yeah.
evolving. And I was like, I think there's something here. Let me build sort of like a cross between, you know, a money saving expert / money supermarket type of thing. So you go online, you figure it all out yourself, and then you just deal with the companies yourselves. So I started building it, and we had a kind of an MVP, very early stage at the time. Then ChatGPT had just hit the market, so I was like, "There's something here. This is going to be big." So we were the first ones to put like a free-to-use AI playground. What turned into what are now custom GPTs and agents. We built those into RecTools. Had a free-to-post job board, and I was dealing with integrations. And effectively, I was sat there going, "Do you know what? There's all these different suppliers, and they all say, oh, this is an interesting idea. I don't know what it is yet, but I know it's something. Why don't we start a podcast and start meeting more of these people, and then maybe that will turn into something, and that will help kind of nudge the direction of the business." And sure enough, people were like, "Yeah, we'll come on," and you'd learn something, you'd learn something more, and you'd learn something more. I was like, "Ah, something here." And then obviously the business fails, and I'm sat there and I'm going, I do all the editing of the podcast. I do all of the sound check stuff because I was a geek and took an interest in all of it. He doesn't. We've got guests booked in, and I don't want to let those guests down. So I was like, well, this was one of the last conversations I had with him. Was like, look, I'm going to carry on with RecTools and RecTalk. And
this is with your old business
Yeah.
partner?
yeah,
Okay.
his intention was to effectively Phoenix and sort of carry on recruiting.
Yeah.
Which is, to my knowledge, he's still doing now or trying to. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I think there's something here, but I don't know what it is. So let's just figure it out. I'm very fortunate that I've got a wife that's incredibly career driven, and so she was sort of like, look, you go do what you need to do. You know, we've banked cash. We won't move yet, so we put plans to move on hold. I got rid of the nice car. You know, made some significant changes to be like, I need to just focus on this for a bit and see, is there something here? Because my gut's telling me that there's something here. But I don't know
How
what
long
it
ago
is
was
yet.
this? Free?
So this was in sort of Jan 24. So for me, that was the genesis of RecTalk and RecTools.
So
So
we
that
must
was
have
that
met
when I
you
took over.
just at that
Yeah,
time.
we
It was
met
like
very-
February.
That's right. Yeah,
It
yeah,
must have
yeah.
been really early doors.
Yeah, so I had to scramble to find somewhere to host my podcast because I'm at the office that we used to film in ain't around anymore.
The Blue Tavern.
So we got Sky Blue Tavern,
That's the
struck a
one.
deal with them. They were like, "Yeah, cool, happy days." And I was like, oh, "Okay, yeah, there's something here. There's something here." Meeting people, and in that one meeting, I'm like building like really all strong connections with these people.
Mm-hmm.
And then sure enough, by sort of June, July time in 2024, I realized that actually RecTools isn't the product. RecTalk as a podcast and a medium is the product. So then I flipped the model over and was like, right, now I know what this is.
Yeah.
This is hey, I can get eyes on your product or service. You just got to pay me to come on the podcast to do it.
Mm.
And people start doing it. And I'm like, oh, I can make a living out of this.
And I mean, you've grown it significantly since we come on. I think when you was around 5,000 subscribers.
It was about 5, yeah.
And now you're just shy of 70,000.
70,000 by the time.
What is the
this week
secret
finishes.
sauce to growing it to 70k? Because let's be honest, there are lots of people starting up podcasts now, and I think some people's end goal is to get to where your goal is. But we've had so many deep, meaningful conversations around, you know what, guys? Don't worry about how many viewings you get. Don't worry about who's watching. It's those conversations that you're having in that moment, and also you can use your shorts for your online presence.
That's it. I don't listen to podcasts in general. I don't have the time. I don't know how people do find the time to. But hey, more
Flick it on in the car.
Yeah, I like to have my little car.
Yeah.
I listened to your podcast this morning.
Mate,
on the way to a meeting.
I appreciate it. Thank you for listening.
I don't know if I subscribe though. I will. I'll make sure I will.
Get in. But Joe, my thought process on it was, if I can do this in a way that I would listen to it, then surely somebody else will listen to it. And I didn't ever go with the intention of like, oh yeah, I'm going to grow a podcast channel. I'm going to be this. I'm going to do that. It was just show up, consistency. You know, if you do 8 episodes of a podcast and then you release number 9, immediately you're in the top 50% of podcasts.
Yeah,
people don't know that because most people give up. Most people just like, this is a lot of hard work. Can't be asked for this.
I think it's because after episode 8, they expect to see like pound coins coming into the bank, right?
That's it.
And they don't see the long game. They just think, well, I've not made any money yet.
Yeah, and you won't. I didn't. No, I don't make money off the monetization plans and that kind of thing. I make my money by charging people to come on the podcast now because I've built it to a point where people will pay to come on it. But the secret sauce is more than anything, Joe, it's consistency. Like you're an ex-sports person. You're committed in the gym. You know whether you're feeling up to it or not. When you come out of that gym, you're like even 1% better than you were the time before.
Steps consistently when no one's watching, that move the dial every time, isn't it?
I'd say you're more committed to that than me, Nitin. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Mine's not done for aesthetic purposes. Mine's more for mindset. I know that if I start my day right, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter what happens beyond the gym this morning. Like I feel in a good headspace. If I just start over.
That's it. And look, the platforms enjoy consistency. If you think about it, if I made Spotify and Apple or YouTube, what's the channel that I'm going to put in front of my audience that I'm having to fight for? You know, YouTube fight for their audience, Spotify fight for their audience. They're going to put the ones out that are constantly turning up, day in, day out. You know, that's what happens. It's not, oh, I can't be asked. Oh, it's just too much. Oh, I can't. I'm burning out. Don't do it then. Just don't do it.
One of the things you said to me before we was recording was about you meeting people that are in your industry that you're genuinely interested in having a good conversation with. And, you know, the fact that you've got the camera on in the background is just an added bonus, right?
That's it. Exactly.
So you're not going to record a podcast thinking, oh God, I've got to film with this person that's in this industry that's boring as hell or whatever it might be. You're actually genuinely interested.
Exactly. Yeah. You look, you're booking the guests. Like, Jesus, you're booking the guests. If you think they're boring, what the hell are you doing booking them? Right? And like, going with any
you're our first guest.
But like, go into every interaction with the same mentality. I can learn something from this person. I'm gonna walk out of this meeting having learned something that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And if I could just take a little bit of that and a little bit of that, I get. Listen, I'm very blessed to do what I do, to be in the position that I'm in today, given everything, right? And I get a lot of high praise from people about, oh, he knows. I don't know. I always say I don't know fuck all. All I do is platform the ones that do, and I take little bits of wisdom from all of them.
To be fair,
I'm where I am because of the people that have helped me get to that point, and that is the majority of them. the guests that I've hosted.
I would say over the 2 years since hosting the podcast, meeting all these people, obviously, naturally, that gives you more exposure.
Yeah.
And then also you build that knowledge, you build that credibility as you're going along, right? And you've accumulated it all along the journey.
Yeah.
You talked about RecTalk a little bit there. Obviously, we've not gone on to, and you touched briefly on RecTools, but Rec Circle, Recruitment Curry Club.
Yeah.
And also I tuned into your men's mental health talk on LinkedIn last week, which I thought was great, because something that men don't talk about enough.
No.
Can you touch on some of them, the Recruitment Curry Club and Rec Circle? And how did that come about?
I had my ass kicked. Right, I had it all planned out. We were untouchable. My business is growing year on year. We're good, making a good living, you know. And then you get your rug pulled from underneath you. And at that point, I kind of thought you could do all the right things, treat everybody perfectly, and your closest person in your life will stab you in the back.
Yeah.
So is it not better to just drop all the facade, and just, do you know what? Why work yourself into a depression and work yourself into the ground, only to then spend your twilight years happy? You know, for me, it was sort of like, I just want to have fun. You know, I just want to enjoy myself. I don't fit the corporate world. I'm not a corporate person. I don't care about nice cars and a big house. And, you know, I find real enjoyment in simple things, just simple things. And so I was like, I'm done with this. So if something lands on my desk that I think is really interesting, intriguing, I want to get involved with that, then I'll throw my all at it, right? So
that's why I love when you said yes to, we hosted the AI event in November and you were like, yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
And you did such a cracking job on the panel. Everyone's fed back to us, haven't they?
Thank you.
So that guy was unreal and just so
cool. The thing is, I don't think that I did anything spectacular. I just told them what no one else is telling them.
Yeah, but
just stop buying shiny things.
Cool way, didn't he?
You know what I mean? Like, just stop buying shiny things.
Can't put a price on it, can you?
Well,
no, but yeah, you're right. You're not up there giving it the corporate bullshit. You're a straight guy, likable.
Yeah. I'm not trying to sell you anything.
Yeah.
Right? And because I'm not trying to sell you, this is what I'm working with through the team network at the minute with the service providers on at the moment. Is the reason I get the buy-in that you guys don't is because I genuinely don't have anything to sell. So I've got a horse in the race. So people then go, actually, I'm going to listen to this guy and what he's got to say, because he's not going, do you know what you should do? You should really buy this really nice bottle of water, because this bottle of water is great. And by the way, it's mine. You know, I make it. You know, it's just, this is what I think.
That's great.
So Rec Circle for me was, we had an idea. There's a client of mine who have now become friends, because again, one of my rules in business is I only do business with people I like. I'll spend time with these people. I ain't chasing invoices, and I damn sure ain't platforming people I find boring, right? So a lot of my clients are my mates now, and the guys at Nodex, Alex and Andy, are phenomenal. And we were like, you know, there's no job board in recruitment. Why is that? We landed on the reasons why. We're like, okay, well, we need to create this anonymous job board where good recruitment consultants can create a profile just talking about how good they are at their job with proof of billings and stuff, and then that will drive, you know, registrations, and people can then Rec2X can sign up to it, or direct companies can sign up to it. You know, you can go, rather than getting 6 CVs with different names and all that, you're seeing what you want. Right, I'm looking for somebody with engineering experience. Well, here's 6 engineering candidates, all live locally. Here's their billings. Here's how they're made up.
And you launched in November 20.
So we're currently in sort of soft launch at the minute, because we're kind of testing. We probably need to do a bit of a raise, because we need to throw a ton of money at marketing and stuff. So if you're looking at an investment, give us a bell. But
that's the part where we go, there are other job boards available.
Yeah, of course. and absolutely there are. There's no anonymous ones, but
no,
I feel there should be, and there will be. I think what we're doing is we're starting a trend.
So in terms of the anonymous piece, talk to me about that. Is that to do with diversity, equity and inclusion, or is that to do
with
a
positive byproduct?
And I guess also confidentiality within our industry, so people are not going to lose their jobs if they're looking
exactly. Look, we know what our industry can be like, right? And people know each other, and people talk, and people have got a lot big mouths.
Yeah.
So it was that. It was also an element of, we also know that, look, and I know from experience, Nitin Sharma is not going to get picked out of a list of applications when there's Joanne, James, John, Mark,
Robert, Paul,
right? It's not going to happen. And I used to go by Nick Sharma in retail banking for that very reason. You know,
It's crazy.
for 8 years in retail banking, I could not use the name Nitin because well, sorry, what does that mean? You know, like needles. That, and so you're kind of like,
I've never thought that one. That's it.
no, you just go all the time.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Oh no.
this is the world we live in, right? So it's a positive byproduct, the bias, the unbiased element and the DEI piece.
Do you know what? Just before you carry on, I love that, because something that we do, and we are, championing it, aren't we, in our local geographics, is to blind send CVs, or a step further, to have pre-interviewed blocks in place with the client, and they don't review the CVs because, like you said, that bias piece, just by looking at a name, whether it's a woman, a man, or your ethnicity, or whatever it might be, people, without even knowing it, sometimes they can discriminate.
There is such a thing as unconscious bias. 100%. It is a real thing.
100%.
I went through it when I got with my wife, and she went through it when we got together in my family matter. Oh, she's a white girl. What's that going to be like? And people's lives and people's opinions are based on a whole host of different experiences.
100%.
You can't just go, oh, but in work we don't do that here. And of course you do that here. You do it everywhere.
Sometimes, like you said, unconscious, right? Knowing you're doing it. So that's amazing. How did you stumble across the Curry Club? It's gaining traction. I mean,
Mate,
I attended last week, and I must say I had a great time.
Good. I'm glad you did.
The food was good. The company was good. Obviously, it was the biggest one, I think.
That was
because
the
it's on
biggest
the
one.
back
That
of
was very
your
unusual
event as well.
It was off the back of a team regional meeting.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. It was a good evening. Gemma missed out.
You didn't pack me a doggy bag, did you?
You don't like. I said to you, didn't I? I said she don't really like curry.
Korma. Apparently, it's custard though in Indian restaurant. They're like, oh god, you've
don't count as a curry, does it?
Yeah.
But no, I had a good evening, and there was actually lots of interesting people there as well. And to bring that amount of people together, how did that come up? Was that just
That was so Bobby, the main founder, or the original kind of idea was his, and so he got diagnosed with cancer and went through treatment, a rounds of chemo and radiation therapy last year, and it really impacted his business. And he kind of had this sort of awakening of like, again, do all the right things, and then bam, rug pull. Now what you do, right? And so we kept in touch, and my heart went out to him, and I was like, listen, need anything, anytime, just let's talk.
Did you know him beforehand as well? Or?
He was a former podcast guest.
Just from a podcast?
We met, and I like you. You're very, very similar, and I wish you the best, and blah blah blah. And we talk every now and then. And then he was like, look, him and his friends do this curry club thing as a once a month thing where they meet up and catch up. Drop the bravado, drop the ego. And he was like, I wish there was something like this in the recruitment sector, because there's a lot of lonely people out there. There's a lot of people who have had bad experiences in the agencies they've worked for, and feel as though that the world is still what it was, and it's just not anymore. There's really good people out there. And so we did the first one in November of 24. It was in Birmingham, down the road from me. I was like, yeah, I'll come along. So I went along with just somebody attending. And then the feedback from the people attending to Bobby was like, who was that guy? Because that was like, he really made his thing. And then Bobby was like, listen, do you want to actually get involved in this?
What was you asking then? Deep and meaningful questions.
It was more kind of making them question what they're saying. Like things like, oh, why is that important? Oh yeah, I haven't billed very much this year, and it's really, really getting me down. And okay, you paid your bills? Did you eat every day? Did you get to your kids?
Reality check.
Yeah. You're better off than 80% of other people, right?
So true.
What's this constant need for growth? You're a one-person business. That you're a solopreneur. If you paid your bills and you paid, you slept every night and you ate every day, and you showered the next day, and you managed to do all the things that a lot of people out there don't have the luxury of doing. Stop kicking yourself about it. We're in a recession. Like sort of like have a bit of a pause for a minute, right?
Yeah. And
it was just stuff like that. It was just stuff like, I think that's like, I think you've been too harsh on yourself, or actually, I don't think you realise how common that is in this space, or why don't you try talking to this person? Actually, I've got somebody who could really help you with that. You're just recommending people in my network that could be useful. collaborations and stuff like that. Yeah, and Bobby was like, "Do you want to get involved in this properly?" And I was like, "Yeah, go on then." Yeah, gives me. In my head, I'm like, it's another way to get my name out there. It's another way for people to be like, "Oh God, what's he doing now?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
And
What's
it's
the hype?
grown, hasn't it? It's grown. So
It's
when was the
unbelievable.
first one? What? How?
So
was that
November
on-
24 was the first one.
We've done one every
And
month
since
since.
then, we've done 5 in Birmingham. We've done 4 now in London, 3 in Manchester, Glasgow, Bristol. We've got Southampton and Cambridge that are coming up. Coventry, which you went to. We had 1 in Sydney. We've got 1 coming up in Perth. 1
I
in
was sat
Brisbane.
with
Ross,
Ross.
great bloke.
Yeah, he's hosting.
Yes.
He's already hosted one. Or
Yes,
hosted
he
one?
is. He has already hosted one. He's going
Because
to do another one.
Nitin was like, "Oh, we're taking the Recruitment Curry Club to Australia." I was looking at me, yeah, all right, mate. Wait, mate. He goes, "No, genuine, we know of Ross over there
Yeah,
hosting it." I was like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah,
That's
we've got
amazing.
New York
Cool.
coming up as well.
Mate, I might be able to make
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah.
Might have to have a
Oh,
expensive trip out.
Ring
I
up
quite
the-
fancy curry that day.
We'll ring up the account and we'll have to sort this one out.
But the thing is, I think what people are really resonating with, above all else, is the fact that it's an anti-networking thing, right? It's we have a very, very strict no dickheads policy and a very strict no sales chat. You cannot talk about sales. Some people really struggle. Yeah, some people really struggle with it, and it's like, listen, if all you see when you interact with someone is pound signs, you have a problem. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is
And
something
they
wrong
sniff
with
it out a
Yeah,
mile off, don't
that's
they?
There's a commission breath.
Yeah, exactly. So the
a
stuff
mile away.
So me and Bobby are now doing stuff with the service providers for team to kind of explain to them and educate them on, look, you know, people buy from people like them and people buy from people they like. That's it.
Yeah.
Unless you fit a likability or relatability criteria, they ain't buying your product. I'm sorry to tell you, you're not unique. You're not the only person in the world that offers what you offer, right?
Yeah.
So you can spend your time pitching, or you can do what you're supposed to be doing, which is 90% of your sales meeting should be shit chat. I don't want to know about features, advantages, benefits. I want to know, what's your kids' names? What do they get up to?
Yeah. Are you a cool guy?
That's it. How long have you been doing this for? Tell me something weird about
Do you know, I think 90% of the time, though, it's not about how great it is. It's about when it starts going wrong, right?
Yeah.
Because actually, everyone's great when it's going well.
That's it.
But when the shit hits the fan, are they going to roll the sleeves up and put you first and right them wrongs and take that stress back away from you? Or they're going to be like, actually, I've already been paid.
Yeah. Or are they going to feel as, or are you getting the impression that if that were to happen, this is the kind of person that would move heaven and earth to make it right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. They don't even need to talk about the, oh, Chris and Gem, here's all the times that we've got it wrong and we did this and we did this. No, you want to speak to somebody and be like, this is the kind of person that if I rang on a Friday and said, for whatever reason, whether it's my admin people's mistake or whether it's the candidate's mistakes or whatever, the timesheets haven't gotten through, but my guys need paying. My candidates need paying. It's Friday afternoon. I want to know that as my payroll provider, you're going to go, I got you guys, don't worry. We'll sort it Monday. Don't lose sleep over it. You guys will be paid. We'll sort it Monday.
No.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we've been building a community without realizing that I've been building a community now for, is it 3 years? 2 years. We hosted our very first wellness event here at Mixx's HQ. We literally barely had any furniture, did we? But it was such a good crack. We brought barbecue, did loads of food, had a dance competition, and it was very low key and chilled. And we had an ex-footballer come and do a talk with everyone, and
Nice.
everyone in the room were in, some real high-powered positions in HR, talent, business owners, and they were taking away at least one thing and then feeding back to us what they'd taken away. And we've just grown and grown and grown. And do you know how many conversations we have about Mixx and what we do? Zero. Like zero do we stand there and sell to them. It's just all genuine, be interested, be interested.
I also think that it's just like, because actually, how can you sell to someone when you don't even really know what they're doing? My mindset is always like, do we actually even want to work with you? Like you said, I don't want to work with a dickhead. If you don't value us as a partner, stay well away from us. So
but it's really funny because I used to have this conversation sort of 2.5 years ago, where I'd be like, cold calling I think is dead. Outbound and outreach sales is dead. There's social selling, networking, community referrals. That's the way that business is done. And people in the recruitment sector that are the older guard, the more sort of more established thought leaders would laugh and be like, this kid don't know fuck all, look at him, idiot. Guess who doesn't have to make a single sales call? Guess who doesn't ever have to chase a single invoice? Guess who gets inbound after inbound after inbound, and people pulling him to the side and be like, I need to talk to you next week. How do we make this happen? I want to get involved in what you're doing. Right?
Did you get that from 8 podcasts?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's what people think, though, right?
Yeah.
That's what people think, though.
That's it.
But do you know the craziest thing? You know, I'm still waiting for Chris to sign up. Actually, this year.
Oh, here we go.
I did the CEO sleep out.
Oh,
2
here we
years ago. I was recovering from surgery. I had really quite major open surgery, right? And I was sitting there feeling a bit sorry for myself. I was on LinkedIn and I saw this CEO sleep out. Never heard of it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a crack, because why not? I want to set myself a goal to recover, and sleeping on the streets really pretty much solidified how fit and like on the go I needed to be. Did it. Off the back of that, I've come a number of opportunities, and that was just genuine. Like, I kid you not, sleeping on a well, the MD from one company bought some cardboard boxes with his branded on it. I ended up nicking one of them to lay on. A few months down the line, we're doing their recruitment. Yeah, you know.
She didn't tell you that they had a few flasks of Grey Goose and whatever else to keep them warm through the night.
Listen, if you need to sleep on the streets,
you got to you got to really.
I don't. Yeah,
you got to truly embody what they do, right? You have a little drink.
Listen, you try sleeping on the streets and not trying drugs and alcohol.
Oh God!
Right, and saying no to that. I get really annoyed when people are like, "Oh, don't give them money; they're just going to spend it on drugs." So they should.
That gives them a
so they should. Yeah. You know, I have a tough week and go down the pub. This guy's life is really difficult. You know, if he's going to go and spend it on drugs to get that level of escapism, how different is that to you waking up in the morning, sitting on the toilet on your TikTok feed or Facebook feed, and getting your dopamine hit? What's the difference between the two? Difference is one uses warm and the other isn't. Like, you know, this is that mental health thing. Like, I jumped at the opportunity for that. Sanjay messaged me. I want to do something.
It was a great
mental health.
Sanjay.
Yeah, you know,
shout out, Sanjay. I met him at the Barry Club.
And I was like, yeah, man, let's do it. And he was like, do you know anyone else that would want to get involved? And straight away I was like, yeah, Andy at team, Bobby. Bobby's been through it. Andy's like on it all the time, and we've bonded over like, you know, mental health stuff. Like, these guys, this is the dream team, if you will, right? Because we don't want to just sit there and do the usual, you know, it's fine, and you know, well, men have it tough and blah blah blah. Like, I had so many messages off the back of that one where they were like, no, thank you for saying what you said, because I went, listen, the truth of the matter is that as men, we do have it easier than our female counterparts. Right? And anyone telling you otherwise is a liar. We have life is easier for us. Doors are opened quicker in careers. We're not expected to put our lives on hold for children and family. You know, they have it very difficult. But men's mental health is where it is because of the pressures we put on ourselves. You know, we go around being like, I must be the breadwinner. I must be the.
There's a lot of pressure that you carry.
I think it's definitely relatable in terms of the women and men's situation. But I'd say when it comes to the men, it's probably more difficult to open up and talk about how you feel and be vulnerable. And I think it's sometimes about finding your circle or your people that you can be like that with. Because I feel like in society as a man, I don't know about yourself, but I grew up in the football world where it's all drink, go out, sing loads of songs, everyone's macho, everyone's kind of, you know, adrenaline up, and you go to the matches and you never talk about how you feel ever, right? And if you did, you'd be like, oh, you'll be frowned upon, or, you know, the boys will start taking the mickey out of you or whatever else. Whereas,
but then we're all happy to give a moment's silence and shed a tear for Gary Speed when he kills himself.
Yeah.
And then the next day it's forgotten about and carry on as you were, lads.
100%.
Right? I think for me, the most powerful thing coming off that, and messages that we got off the back of it, was I don't think people, and this isn't just men's mental health thing, this is just generally about mental health. I don't think people appreciate the power of you talking about your issues allows other people to feel confident to talk about theirs. It empowers people.
Yeah,
100%.
So I wear this brand all the time, right? The number of people that will start a conversation with me about mental health. That's not because I'm walking around with a face that, oh, he looks like the kind of person that wants to hear me talk drama dumb, you know? Where they're looking at it going, oh, I resonate with that. You're obviously somebody who's openly happy to walk around and say, do you know what? Boys get sad too. And it's all right.
And I think the fact that you're willing to be open and having conversations will help other people as well.
It opens the door, doesn't it, to spark conversation. People feel more accepted and heard, don't they?
That's it. And I think that's really important, which is why I get involved in all the weird and wonderful shit that I do, because I like to feel like I'm making a difference to something somewhere. You know what I mean?
You're wearing lots of caps, aren't you? You've got
Mm-hmm.
lots going on, spinning lots of plates, and also you've got a beautiful family at home as well.
That's right.
Busy, busy, busy.
We're going to move on now.
Go
So,
on.
if you could use one recruitment tool and not rec tools, what would it be and why?
Get to grips with ChatGPT.
The ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Or if you use the Microsoft tool stack, so if you've got like Outlook or whatever, Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, pay the £20, whatever it is a month, and get to grips with it, because that is the future. AI isn't going to be a buzzword in the same way that Wi-Fi is no longer and we have Wi-Fi, or and Bluetooth isn't just a feature anymore that people sell against. It's expected. It's a standard. That's what AI will be. So if you're, no matter what you do for a living, get to grips with how things like Copilot or ChatGPT and AI in general, but they're going to be the ones that are basically going to be everywhere. Most products are built upon that. Start understanding how prompt engineering works. And it's not as complicated as it sounds. Start understanding how to tell a machine what to do to give you the output that you want. Because it's not a simple case of going, write me a blog about stars, and then going, this is crap. Of course it is, because you've just asked it to write you something about stars. Yeah.
We can also spot it off.
I was going to say on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
you can see who has just literally said, write me this.
Yeah.
But the more you can bring to life your personality and feed, as you say, prompt engineer it with exactly what you want out of it,
That's it.
then you're going to get. So go on then, give me the most extreme thing, obscure, crazy thing that you've used ChatGPT for.
Apart from today's intro.
Or not like,
Right, so no, okay, yeah. So from the fallout of my business, I was left with a financial liability that was, with interest and everything else, was somewhere near the tune of £500,000. And I'm looking at it going, I don't understand how this has happened. I don't know what am I going to do. I went to a lawyer. The lawyer went, tough shit, got no, I know what you want to do. This is what it is. It was to do with personal guarantees. And long and short of it is, there's a personal guarantee against some lending that was done that I didn't know was there. Sounds pretty black and white to me. But because of the time, the length of time that it had gone on for, the situation with the business and so on and so forth, I now a legal leg stand on, or sort of thought. So I started pushing it into GPT and go, look, this is the situation. Here's this. Here's what I've signed, or what I thought I'd signed. Here's what is actually, from a subject access request perspective. Here's what they've sent me. Here's what the FOS have said. Here's what this has said. Help me. I sit here today having not spent a single penny of that debt, or paid a single penny of that debt so far, because fundamentally GPT has prompted me in the right way and pointed me in the right way through a series of case law and to kind of go, the fact is, the lender never spoke to you, the broker never spoke to you, your business partner has potentially forged your signature because you don't remember signing this paperwork. They haven't got a leg to stand on.
Wow.
And it's been now to this day 6 months, and I've not heard from them.
Touch wood.
Right, touch wood. That carries on. But do you know what?
So powerful.
That wouldn't. I was losing sleep. I'm sitting there telling my wife, listen, we're gonna have to sell the house in Penrith. We're gonna have to sell this. And to be honest with you, I'm probably gonna have to go bankrupt at this rate. If that happens, then you're gonna have to buy my part of the house. Don't worry, I've got cash here over in India. We'll pull that in. We'll do this. We'll do that. And she's sort of like, this is driving you mad. Like, I definitely wasn't this grey before all of that time.
I always say to people, I'm only 24. And they look at you and go, yeah, working with recruitment. Oh, that's
so.
Wow.
I swear by it, and I swear by it because I've seen how positive the other side is. And there's always going to be people that will go, "Oh, it produces rubbish." Of course, it does. For you, well, if you use it properly,
it's like anything.
Powerful tool.
It's like the 8 episodes and stop there. It's like, well, I've tried it a couple of times, it don't work.
With AI, it's akin to sitting in a Tesla that's got self-driving capability and going, drive then. and they go, self-driving cars are crap. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not going to, like, generally, that's
Take it
just a
to
stupid thing to
destination.
do, right? And then expecting, like, that for me is sort of like, look, this is where it's heading. AI is not as scary as you think it is. There's a lot of people out there that will hype it and pomp it. 9 out of 10 of them are trying to sell you something. And they want you to buy their AI product, so they're going to make it more.
There's a lot on the
sounds
market.
so complicated that you just, I've got no choice but to use this, right? Do your research, but start with GPT. If you get your head around GPT, your business will change. Your output will change. My wife now uses it for her planning, for lessons and stuff like that. 6 months ago, when I told her about it, she laughed and went, "I'd never use that." And now she's like, "Can you just help me do that?"
It is crazy, and going back to what you said about the amount of tech and tools on the market at the moment, it can be quite overwhelming as a business leader when there's so many. You don't have time to pilot every single one, look at everyone, speak to everyone. And Gemma and I kind of said, let's just get really good at ChatGPT, right? And then see where we're at.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we've got a few things that we've implemented, like quick CV reformatting. We've got something that plugs into Bullhorn and all that stuff.
Lovely.
But I said, let's get really good at that and then see where we're at. So,
And that's all you need to do. I
100%.
think the
you can
advice
end up spending so much money and not even implementing the tool properly or using it
and
properly.
the guys don't use it properly, or
100%.
what it does kind of overlaps with what this one does. So which one am I supposed to use? Look, the fact is that the advice I give to everybody is don't buy. There's no silver bullet for your business. There's no silver AI bullet out there. Map out your processes as a business. So I'm having recruitment agencies, and I'll go, look, everything that you have to do, and then look at, okay, this is how we do it as a business. What tools are out there that can help us do that more efficiently or at a better cost, right? And if that happens to be an AI tool that's already on the market and it's 50 quid a month subs, go and buy it.
Get it and plug it
If
in.
it doesn't exist, get your head around GPT, get your head around things like make.com, and make your own AI agent to do that and plug that out. Because that's where everyone else is moving. With all the forward-thinking businesses right now, that's what they're doing. They're building their own custom tech for their own businesses.
Amazing. Looking ahead
Yeah.
with a crystal ball,
The
the next 18 to 24 months, where would you say the biggest disruption is going to be in talent, or where do you see the market kind of shifting?
I think the biggest shift coming is we are going to move back to a face-to-face environment. What I mean by that is we've already seen AI being used to sift CVs. On the flip side, candidates are using AI to mass apply for jobs. Candidates are using AI to get through assessments. Candidates are using AI to answer live interview questions and so on and so forth. We're basically becoming, you talk about your dead internet theory, where it's just AI talking to AI. That is where we're heading. And I think the only real way to mitigate that is going to be to sit down with somebody face to face. If you're getting phone calls left, right, and center, and they all sound like a real person, they're even umming and ahhing like a real person. At some point, and then you go on a Teams call, and it's like, that's weird. It might be a virtual back. I'm not sure, but is this thing AI that I'm speaking to? I'm not too sure. Only way to know for sure is going to be to go, it's a real fucking person. Thank God for that, right?
Yeah.
That's where we're moving back to. So all these businesses are now looking at outreach methods and ways of managing workflow using AI and voice cloning and all that sort of stuff. It's all going to be a waste of money because we're going to get back to, can we meet for a coffee?
Person.
Yeah. I'm not doing business with you until we.
That though as well, aren't they?
Well, you've seen it with your events.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just a real disconnect in society, not just in business but in social terms as well. So I think like for example the Curry Club.
Yeah.
In Coventry. I mean, I only knew you before I turned up. But funnily enough, I knew a few people when we got there, of course. But by the end of it, like I said, I'm sat next to Sanjay.
You walk away knowing people that
I met Bobby. I met the training guy with the beard. What's his name?
Oh, Jeremy.
I met Jeremy. And I come away meeting 4 or 5 people that I actually had really good conversations with, and didn't talk about
because they weren't allowed to
training,
talk about sales.
Recruitment.
You got to know them.
I did hear a few conversations behind me where they started talking about, oh shit, we're not meant to talk about this, and then they changed the subject, reverting back to type.
That's the beauty of it. People self-regulate themselves.
Yes.
It self-regulates itself because then no one wants to upset the apple cart because they're like, this is fantastic. This is what the industry's needed for a while. look, I've got calls this week with AppSco, with REC, with TRN. We're doing stuff with soon. Team, obviously, one of the first ones that we collaborated with. Recruitment Canaries, we did a collaboration with them. You know, people are coming to us. Guys, we want this. How do we get this involved? You know, when the REC are going, how do we do something with you guys? You know, you're onto something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Changing the game. That's what we like to see.
I'd really like to know what's the best piece of career advice you've ever had, career advice that you've got our teeth back in.
Advice I've ever had is tough one. My aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at Coventry Building Society with this graduate who joined. His name was Tom. Really nice guy. Worked on the reception bit. Oh, I've got a law degree. That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm going to work for the legal team in Coventry Building Society. That's what I want to get to. Oh, God, that's wicked. We go our separate ways, kept in touch. Tom used to play in a band, him and his mate. It's called Strumbox something or another. He'd play the guitar and sing, and his mate would just sit tap in a little box. And they'd do a few gigs every now and then, whatever. Bump into him. Oh, Nitin, how you doing? Yeah, I'm at Michael Page now. What are you doing? Oh, well, yes, I'm head of legal counsel at Coventry Building Society. I'm like, that's amazing, man. That's what you wanted. Like, that's wicked. It's like, yeah, I'm really pleased. It's like, yeah, cool. We'll catch up sometime. Yeah. I set up my business. Sitting, having a few beers as we do on Friday night at the Telegraph, and see you walking past. I'm like, okay, hell, Tom, you all right? Hey, how you doing? I was like, what are you doing now? Working at Credit Suisse as a legal counsel or something like that, no? And he was like, nah. Do you remember my band? I was like, yeah. He was like, I do that for a living.
No way.
Like, what do you mean? It's like, I play at parties and bar mitzvahs and christenings and things like that, and that's what I do. I clear 100 and something grand a year, work maybe 4 days a month, sometimes 5. I was like, no, you're having me on, mate. He was like, no, it's all a lie, mate. The whole world's a lie. Because I did 1 or 2 gigs with some really affluent people. They go to network. Before I knew it, so I'm booked out until like 3 years from now. I'm good, man.
Wow.
But and I was like, they don't tell you that at school. This
Don't
guy,
get me started on this subject.
do you know what I mean?
No,
This
don't.
guy is
There's a
making
disconnect from our government to the local schools.
That's where
and
for me it
oh.
switched, and I went, if I can make a living podcasting, I'm all right. I've done well. I don't have to make. I don't. I don't have goals and career goals and stuff anymore, right? It's just I want to do fun shit. I want to do fun shit. I don't want to feel like it's a drag. I don't want to be like, oh, I've got to do this today. I've got to do that today. And I say to everybody, I say to you guys every time we speak, my life's good, man. I'm blessed. This is what I get to do for a living.
Say that all
This
the time.
is what I get to do for a living.
You don't feel like you're working, right?
Nah,
You
it's
just
not.
enjoy.
It's not a job. This isn't real.
You meet cool people. Maybe not us, but
No,
you meet,
no.
Speak for yourself.
So we met that one time we met, like what, nearly 2 years ago.
how did it even come about? I can't even remember.
I think
Did you
one of
guys
your,
conversate or something?
I think it might have been sort of your.
Samantha, I think.
Yeah,
Samantha.
it's something. Yeah, she just reached out and was like, "Oh, we want to do a bit of PR stuff, and what she wants to come on the podcast." So I was like, "God, here we go! Right, recruitment business owner wants to come on the podcast." And then we jumped on the teams, and I was like, "Actually, these guys don't even realize how good they are. Like the whole world is
Hold
crying
on.
about how shit they're doing."
How detailed was I? You were probably like, who is this girl? What is she on?
But
Can we meet? What do we
You
do?
guys are you guys are very meticulous and organised.
It
Right?
was like, can you just change the lighting over there? Can you put that over there? Nick's like, ooh. Okay, Podzilla.
Sure, yeah,
Podzilla.
Oh,
No, I'm only
Think
joking.
about the small details.
But you're right.
Sweat
No,
and
you're
stuff.
right. The problem is people like me don't take it seriously, and people like you exist to make us right. Tristan's that one right now. That looks shit. Don't do that. That camera angle's rubbish. Don't do that again. You know, and like, but yeah, but think about and interaction. I'm a massive believer in like the butterfly effect. You know, one weird little obscure change, and all of a sudden you're doing like I didn't. If 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I wouldn't have gone, yeah, I'm going to be like a podcaster and have the biggest YouTube, channel in the recruitment industry. Yeah, I laughed like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Me, yeah, I'm going to laugh, mate. I've got recruitment to do. Do you know?
Yeah.
You've crushed it though. You've absolutely nailed
I'm
it.
very fortunate, and I like long may it continue. But I'm fully aware that look, success isn't final. Look, failure is not fatal, but success isn't final. Yeah.
But I think fundamentally, if you're a good person and you do the right things, you'd always find your way, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what's meant to be for you. And I think, your journey from, you know, the banking days to your own, to Michael Page, to your own agency, all of them kind of successes and failures along the way have brought you to where you are today.
Absolutely.
And I feel like you just kind of reinvent version 2.0 time and time.
Just got to keep going. Yeah, you just got.
100%.
What's the alternative, right?
It's been amazing talking to you today. I'm going to finish up with one final question, which could be, if you could change one thing in the talent recruitment, HR industry, if you could change one thing, like your biggest bugbear that you could change, what would it be and why?
I know this one straight away because it's something that I'm working on changing, and I feel like it's starting to change. Recruitment is not a sales job. Recruitment is a professional service. Start treating it like a professional service, and you'll get the respect from your counterparts as TA and HR. You'll get the respect that you want and you crave so much from clients and from candidates, and life's a lot easier. If you continue treating it as a sales job, I'm really sorry, but you've probably only got about 18 months to 2 years before you're shelved as well. The number of recruitment agencies that are shutting down right now is unbelievably high.
Transactional.
By contrast, the number of recruitment businesses that are being started up is at an all-time high, right? There was like 4,000 a couple of months ago in 1 month, because it's no longer a case of if that person goes to set up their own business, it's a case of when. Every top biller in every business right now is eyeing up doing this for themselves. It's about to get a damn sight more competitive, but not because there's some really good salespeople out there. No, because there's some really good professional service-based recruiters out there who are coming into the industry and are going to disrupt status quo and are starting to do so already. Case in point, people like yourselves. You're going to get left behind. Recruitment is not a sales job. It is a professional service. Start treating it like that and you might survive.
But if you are a recruiter, listen to this, just keep selling, just keep doing your sales. No, listen, it's been amazing. We've really enjoyed having you on today.
It's been my pleasure.
Where can the audience find you? I mean, most of them already know you anyway, but what are your socials? Any last words you want to leave us with?
No, I think I've dropped enough sound bites, but yeah, actually, this is the one I really like.
You're not going to break into song, are you? That was very theatrical.
Wait, here we go. There we go.
This is my favourite one, right? Yeah, we spend a lot of time trying to people please and trying to please everybody, right? We have this real natural kind of inkling to do that as humans. And I read this quote once, it really did stick with me. It was that you can be the sweetest peach on a tree, but not everyone likes peaches. And that's all right. Just stay in your lane, do your stuff, man. But this has been good. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can go to rectalk.co.uk and watch the podcast. You can subscribe if you want to. And RecTools is rectools.io. If it's relevant to you guys, feel free to have a look. But yeah, I accept most connection requests unless it's like video editors based out in Pakistan or India or whatever, because I don't need any more inbound there. But yeah, cool. Let's talk. You know, you catch me at shows and stuff. I'm going to be at the expo, at RecFest, because a lot of your audience is going to be TA. So I'll be at RecFest, I'll be at IHR, and basically anywhere there's anything going on is usually me. And
there's some exciting stuff coming up, which we can share later on, but you're going to be doing a lot more with Mixx, aren't you?
Indeed.
In the coming months.
Indeed, yeah.
We are
Excited about that.
Excited about.
Exciting.
Exciting.
Exciting, mate. It's exciting times. Well, look, that's a wrap. Episode 1 done. Nitin, it's been a pleasure. Guys, if you're still with us, please subscribe to our YouTube. It's In The Mixx. I'm sure you're going to see all about it on our socials. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.